Do you live in a caravan like I do, and your couch is worn and frayed and looking a little bit worse for wear? Well, we have been living in our caravan, our 2 dogs, Frank and Baxter, and our caravan couch in our old 2003 Bushtracker caravan is looking a little bit worse for wear. So I'm going to attempt to update our caravan upholstery and couch. So come with me and I'll show you how I go about it. So this is our caravan couch. As you can see, we have a couple of areas. The thread is bare, some of the foam is damaged, this whole bit of fabric is gone, and we have another hole here. So our dogs stay in the caravan when we go out, because we do live on the road and travel full time in our caravan. Sometimes Frank has been a little bit bored and he did create a little hole on that couch cushion. The hole behind me over here is due to our other dog, a Labrador, getting up onto the bed behind me. So every time he goes up, he kind of claws at it a little bit, because sometimes his back legs don't work the best. And that's what's happened to our couch. So it's time for an upgrade and a little bit of a freshen up. This couch is just over 20 years old. It probably has done a very good job so far, but it is time to upgrade, and I'm going to attempt to do this myself. So I guess first off is grab our cushions off the couch. So the next thing we want to do, and I have not attempted to take this off, so let's see how we go. Underneath the backing board down here, we have a screw. So there'll be a couple of screws along the back here that I have to take out. I find the good idea is to put them back in where you pull them out from, so you don't ever lose them. So this side had 2 screws, that's all I could see. I think that's all that's in there. And, oh, here we go. So that just came out nice and easily, just taking the 2 screws out. And then on the back of the board, we can see there's these little plastic little tapping plugs that just push into the hole up the top. And yep, I just had 2 screw holes. So I'll put the screws back in there so I don't lose them. Okay, so now that we've got all the pieces out, I'm going to exit the caravan because it's a little bit too small in here to actually do sewing and reupholstering, and we're going to head inside. Some of the items that you'll need to recover your couch are upholstery fabric. You can pick this up from a haberdashery store. I went to Spotlight. Zipper. I think I've grabbed 5 meters of zipper, which is probably more than what I needed. Spray adhesive so that you can use that for the backing of the couch. A staple gun. So again, that's for securing fabric to the back of the couch. I've got some wadding as well to use on the back of the couch after I have patched up the foam. You will most likely need a sewing machine as well of some sort. My approach to reupholstering the caravan couch is for the top of the couch that is sitting on a backing board. I'm going to have a look at that to see whether I can get away with not sewing anything on that and just folding fabric and stapling it in. For the actual seat cushions, I will need to sew new covers, which I will sew the zip into that so that they can become removable, so that we can wash them and take them off if we need to at any stage. So this is the backing piece at the moment that we have. You can see that it has been stitched and sewn. I am going to see if I can just use a folding method and the staple gun to save some sewing time. You can see they've covered all of the board on this, so I will be doing that as well. They've also covered the buttons on the cushion. I will be recovering them with the new fabric. So this is what I've got cut from Clark Rubber. I've given them the measurements and they've cut this up in I think it's the ultra firm green upholstery couch cushion, and I've just got that cut to size. The current couch cushion, one side of it is slightly higher than the other side and it has buttons. I'm not going to do that. I'm not messing around with cutting this foam too much. I'm just going to go with a straight cushion. It might not look as fancy as the current ones, but it's going to be easier for me to work with. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay. So this is a good reason to check everything before you start cutting. I am short in material, so I'm going to have to go back to Spotlight and go buy some more. And I have enough for the 3 bottom cushions and 2 of the back cushions. And the bigger back cushion, I'm going to have to go get some more fabric for that. That's fine. They had heaps in store, so I'll go back, drop in tomorrow and go get some more fabric for that. But what I can do right now is just measure out what I've got and cut those to size. I've already pre-washed this upholstery fabric. It's always better to pre-wash fabric to make sure that it doesn't shrink once you've made it, because I couldn't think of anything worse than going through all this effort to make these cushions. And I take the cover off, I wash it, and then I can't get it back on the cushion. That would not be fun. Damn it. 1 more metre would have done it. Sorry for the noise, I've got a fan on because it's a bit steamy in here. I may be able to make this extra bit of fabric work. I'm about 1 metre short if I wanted to do it the way I had planned. But since I've got this piece, which is actually too short for the length that I need for the long piece of couch, what I might do is cut the piece that I have in half, sew it, make a seam down the middle, and then see if it's enough to cover this longer piece of couch. If it is, perfect. If not, I'll have to go buy some more fabric. This just might work. So we may have salvaged this. Yay. Let's sew these 2 pieces together. That'll be my first job. So I'm going to start taking the old fabric off the back of the couches. I need to take the buttons off and undo some of the staples in the backing. All I have is some pliers and a flathead screwdriver. So first thing, flip it over. As you can see, we've got staples holding the buttons onto the plywood. So I'm going to take those out, and I have staples in the fabric holding the fabric onto the plywood. I am not going to remove all of these staples. I'm probably just going to rip the fabric off, and if the staples stay behind, then they stay behind. If they come off, they come off. So let's get into this. Okay, so taking all the fabric off the backing cushions, I'm going to fix up this damaged area that I have on the back of the cushion. If you have something, you can do something similar to what I'm doing. I've just cut off of the excess bits that I cut off the bottom, I've cut some foam. So I've just cut some bits that will fill out my hole and bring it back to what the couch should be. So I'm going to glue these in. So I've just got my Gorilla Spray. I'm just going to spray both sections, glue them together, let them set, and then we can put the wadding on and cover. So that's done, and we'll just wait for that to dry. What I've just done is covered the foam in a layer of wadding. I wanted to do this because this foam is like 20 years old. I am reusing it, but I thought if I put a little bit of wadding on it, it might bring it back to life just slightly and give it a little bit more oomph. So what I've done is I've used this Gorilla spray adhesive. I've sprayed that on. I then put the wadding over the top of that. I've stapled along the bottom edge of the foam and the ply just to make it a nice straight line there. Turned the cushion over. I have then trimmed off all of the excess of wadding and then thrown a couple of staples in the back just to hold it in place. I haven't done a huge amount of stapling at the moment. I'll do more staples once we put the fabric on. I then cut off the excess on the corners because I didn't want it to be too bulky once I cover it, so it will still fit properly. And I just gave a little bit of extra Gorilla Spray onto the edges just to secure this wadding down onto the cushion. Now we can have a go at covering this with the actual fabric. So this is my fabric that I cut to size the other day that we're going to put on. I want to try to see if I can put this on and just use staples without having to sew. If I can fold the fabric in the right way, I should be able to just use the staple gun and I shouldn't need to actually do any sewing on this part. So that cushion is done for now. I'm going to do the other ones pretty much the exact same way, and then once I buy the buttons, I can show you how I'm going to put those buttons on. So we're on to covering the seat cushion. Full disclosure, I have already done 2 of them and this is the 3rd one. I had no idea what I was doing. I'll show you through what I'm doing, which is not going to be 100% perfect because I'm not a seamstress. So I've got my material for the cushion. I have my zipper length and I have some wadding. I have done 2 cushions already, which was a bit of my trial and error on how to actually cover the cushions. The first one I did, I made it a bit too big. So this is my first cushion. I did make it a little bit too big, and what I had to do was just come along this edge and just sew a seam in here just to take it in. And I had to take it in about 1 centimetre on each side. This is the smaller of the 3 cushions, the very back cushion of our club lounge, and it's probably not going to be used as much, but you can't really tell that I've had to take in that seam, so I'm pretty happy with that. And this is the other cushion that I've made, and as you can see on these corners, I have not sewn it in. So I adjusted my measurements and I've done a bit better job on this one. So that's nice and firm there on that cushion. The first thing I'm going to do is glue wadding to the both sides of the foam, just to give it a little bit extra softness, because it is quite firm foam. We did go with the firmest foam that they had just so that it lasts over time, but this will give it a little bit more softness on there, plus I had some extra, so why not use it? So you're going to want to measure the wadding just so it fits. I'm just doing the top and the bottom. I'm not doing any of the sides. So just measure it to fit and cut it to size. I'm using the Gorilla adhesive spray to do this as well. I'm going to spray the foam and I'll spray the back of the wadding, give it a good coverage. So I've got my material. This is been loosely cut to size because I had that 8 metre length and I cut what I needed. This is too big for what I actually need to sew the cushion. So I've just folded my material in half, and this folded piece of material is basically going to be the middle of the front of the cushion for me. My cushion depth is 10.5 centimetres high. Now I'm going to be using 9 centimetres as my measurement so that the fabric is tight on the cushion, because the fabric will probably stretch over time. So I want it to be tight. So from my fold, I've got 4.5 centimetres and I've just put a chalk line there. You can use chalk or eyeliner, whatever you have, something that will eventually come off. It's not permanent. Make sure you're using the inside of your material. My material is, the front and back is pretty much the same, so it is not as essential for me. On the side, which will be where the zips come in, I need 4.5 to go up my side for the zips, plus I need a little bit of a seam allowance. So I'm going to use 3 centimetres as my seam allowance. I've marked out the line that I need to cut, so I'm going to go through and now cut the fabric to size. So I've just undoubled it, opened it up. I've got my line along the back here, which will be where I need to cut, I guess. So I'm going to start cutting. When you're finished cutting all your edges, you should end up with each corner having a section out and the middle having a section cut out of that as well. But now we're all cut and done. We are ready to start sewing, I guess. Okay, now that we have our fabric all cut, the first part of sewing I'm going to do is the corners. Just the end 2 corners where the zip is going to be, not the middle section. We'll do that last. So you want the fabric on the inside. Once you've done your corners, if you flip it inside, you'll have corner done. That's one end of the cushion. Along here, the zipper is going to go along here, but what I'm going to do first is put a little tacking stitch along here where my hem is before I attach the zipper, just to help me make it straighter and more secure. I don't have to worry about this lifting while I'm still trying to put the zipper on. Now, the way I am doing the zipper, and you can choose to do your zipper differently, I am putting the zipper on all the way across the back and then down the sides of the left and the right side of the cushion. I've opted to do it this way. 1, because I have extra zipper, and then 2, just so it's easier to get the cushion cover on and off. So once you've sewn that down, it'll now start to resemble more of a cushion, ready for the zip to go on. So my sides all kind of like tacked down for now, my little hemming area. And what I've done is I've just put a little mark to kind of indicate where the center of the long part of the cushion is. And this is my zipper. So I have, I don't know, it's probably like 1.5 meters of zipper here. So I'm going to take one of my pieces of zipper, pull them apart, and I'm going to line it up with my halfway on my fabric. And I'm going to start pinning this down. You want to have the teeth down so that when it's the right way up, they're on the outside. The flatter side is going to be on the inside, and we're going to be sewing down that line. I've also left like a little bit of a gap so that the fabric can overlap. Once you've pinned all of your zipper, we're going to start sewing it on using the zipper foot. Once you've finished adding your zipper on to both sides, what we're going to do is add in the little zipper pull back onto the zipper. It's a little bit tricky sometimes. And just make sure on here that my corners are aligned, which they are, which is perfect. And my zipper is covered. I'm just going to zip this up, make sure this other corner is aligned. And it is, so that's great. I'm going to zip this right off and pull the little zipper tag off again. The reason I'm doing that, I'm going to feed it back through the other side, but the reason I'm doing it is that when I sew across this section to close in the zipper, all this part of the zipper is closed and not open. So pull that off and come back to our original side. Let's pull it apart slightly and then we can feed the zipper back on. So again, this is fiddly. There we go. Back on again, and I'm just gonna pull it around. I'm gonna put a stitch down here on the bottom where the zipper ends so that zip can never come all the way off again. It is a little tricky to do. I will need to unzip it to a point. Okay, so the last bits that we need to sew is this section here. So we have obviously a hole here to sew, and then we got to sew in our corner. But because I have sewn a bit extra on where the zip is, so on this last corner, you can trim off this extra bit. Once you have sewn your edges together and you've sewn all your seams together, we now have our cover. It's done. And next thing is let's try and put our cushion into our cover. I'm just kind of making it so that the bottom can sit here, and then I'll wrestle with it to get it in. So we've got our cushion, and I found like if I squish the ends together, it's a little bit easier. So I'm just making sure it's in the corners properly and the wadding is pushed down and not doubled over or anything. And where's my zip? On the other side. Let's push it in and then wrestle with it to get the zip done up. So our cushion, our seat cushion, all done. The last thing we need to do, sewing wise, is cover our buttons. So I tried a couple of different options, and then what I landed on was cutting a fabric circle and recovering the old buttons as is, and just covering it and tying it up like a little money bag. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do. So I have my fabric circle and I've got a needle with thread on it, and basically I'm just hand sewing around the very edge, just loosely hand sewing it. As you can see, this is starting to fray already. I'm just going to get the lighter out and just give it a quick once over just to get rid of these edges and hopefully stop it from fraying anymore. Okay, so now I have my stitch done around the edge. I can then put my button, I place that into the center, and then pull on your string, your cotton, and it should start to pull it in for you, kind of like a little money bag. So once I have it kind of pulled in, I then just start stitching across back and forth to continue to pull the fabric in. And you just continue doing that all the way across. So this side of the button is going to be pulled really tight against the couch, so I don't think it really matters how messy this stitching is. Just keep going until you're happy with how it looks and how tight it is at the back of it. And then once you're done, you just need to hopefully leave a bit more cotton than I did, tie it off. And if you want, you can spray some glue or something on there to keep the button secure as well. So that's a button, and this is my pile of buttons to go on. Up to the last part of the project now, which is putting the buttons onto the backs of the couch. So this cushion has 10 buttons on the back of the board. There's holes, the existing holes from where the old buttons came from. So I'm going to be using those. I've also got mattress needles. So these two mattress needles, they came in a pack. I pack of 2 that I bought, and I have been using both when I've been using it. So if you only have one, I'm sure that's fine. But I've been using both because I have 2, and it has been making it a little bit easier for me. I've also been using some masking tape so that I can put all 10 buttons on the cushion. I'm taping the string at the back, and then after they're all on there, I'll flip the cushion over and then staple them into place. So I've found this process is a little bit easier than doing them one by one. And if you didn't tape them, they kind of fall back out and you have to redo the process again, which is a bit of a pain in the bum. So all done with sewing the cushions, and we're back in the caravan now, and I'm going to attempt to install them. Hopefully I can do it. Apologise, it's going to be a little bit hard filming in here because it is a small location, but we'll work with what we've got. So I've brought all the cushions in. So I've got the 2 side cushions for the backrests. I have the 3 seat cushions, and this is the longer backrest cushion. So first job is to come in and take out all of the screws again. So when I had taken them out originally, I just screwed them back in place so I didn't lose them. So now take them out so we can attach the back cushion. Okay, wish me luck. Okay, there's plugs on the backing board that were originally there, and they need to go back in the holes that they came out of, and just a bit of a firm push and that'll clip back into place. So that's all in place now, and put your screws in. So we've got our first cushion in. Now we've got to put the second one in. On my cushions, there's like a cutout, I guess. So I know which side this one's from. This one is from the right-hand side, depending on which direction you're looking at the couch. I'm going to call that the right-hand side. So this piece will go and butt up with my back piece. I'm expecting it might be a little bit of a struggle to push it in. So this is super snug, trying to get this in. A little bit of gentle persuasion and you'll get there. I wouldn't use any brute force. You don't want to break anything. So just make sure your plastic bits are clipped in and then put your screws in. And time for the last cushion, and just do that the same way you did that second cushion. Okay, the backs of the couch are done now, and all left to do is slide in the seat cushions. So I've got my middle one. Just make sure that the zip is at the back. Okay, that's it, guys. So we now have a brand new caravan lounge. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I think it looks pretty good. And I've got some throw cushions, which I'm going to throw on there just to finalise it. But I think it's turned out pretty well. We've put some life back into our old 20-year-old couch. And it didn't break the bank. So I think we spent about $340 on replacement cushions for the seats. I spent $180 on fabric and wadding. And I spent about $120 on a sewing machine and zipper and cotton and other little bits and pieces. So all up, about $640 to redo the couch and a bit of time. In my opinion, it's been worth it for me because I've had the time to do it. If you don't have the time, definitely go pay for someone to do it if you just need it done quickly. But if you have the time and patience to sit there and recover your couch yourself, I recommend. Go do it. It looks a little bit different with the throw cushions on, and then we just turn our table around, which turns it into kind of like a cafe seating, and we get a bit more space on the sides. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this has been helpful for you. And yeah, leave any comments if you know some other tips and tricks that I haven't been able to share. Thanks for watching.